What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bonus Points with me, Christian LAM.
And DJ Milez.
What's going on? We had a kind of hectic week. Something kind of went haywire with our previous Breaking Bad review. Not that it won't be up at some point, hopefully very soon, but we just decided that we were not going to stand by idly after the events of, last week's Breaking Bad. We had to just jump on it. So, picking up right there, this episode was titled The Granite State, which, as we discussed last week, is New Hampshire. So we knew there was going to be a bit of a location jump and some serious things we're going to have to go down, especially with only 2 episodes left. So, Jesus, man, how do you feel about all this? Because I was telling someone the other day that I feel like Breaking Bad might have ended last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this is just the epilogue. This is all and then this is what happened to these people,
Yeah, it's so funny. I keep on saying in all these videos how I want him to die, but now it's like...
They did it.
They fucking always do it where they're like, God damn it, I'm not saying I want him to have a happily ever after, because I think that'd be total bullshit too, but I feel like he suffered something, he's defeated.
Yeah.
He's clearly defeated. He just feels like shit,
Yeah, absolutely.
And, there's several times, you kept on saying there's a part where, we haven't seen the Heisenberg yet. Yeah. And then, I just feel like, again, it really is that perfect Jekyll and Hyde, Bruce Banner Hulk thing. It's you see bits of the Hulk, and that's it. Yeah,
well,
he disappears so fast.
We'll see, and I feel like, and that's we'll kind of talk about the events chronologically as they happen, but that was one of the events, when the episode starts off, we see that red van that we've become accustomed to this year, and it pulls up into an actual vacuum cleaner place, So that was a bit of a shock, because we've always heard about this for, I think, 3 or 4 years now, about the fixer, he can make you disappear. Turns out it's an actual vacuum repair shop. Yeah. When we pull in, the fixer's actually played by Robert Forster, who's from Jackie Brown and The Descendants and a few other great things. He's a really good actor. And he says, you can get out now. And it's actually not Walt, it's Saul. Saul's also trying to get out of town.
Yeah.
And
which, can you blame him?
Not at all. But it's just one of those things, I feel like Saul's like a cockroach. He can contort and fit in small spaces, but he'll always survive. You know what I'm saying? But, so that was one of the things. And what it turns out is, they're both trying to get out of town. Walt's taking a little bit longer, so they're going to have to kind of bunk together. And this is where we kind of see our first glimpse of a little bit of Heisenberg, but not necessarily the full thing,
Yeah.
One of those scenes that everyone kind of talked about a few years back was when Saul was trying to say, "I'm out, I'm done," and then Walter corners him. We're done when I say we're done,
Yeah. And I love how they brought it back again, but
only to illustrate how far he is not that person anymore. You know what I'm saying? He can try to convince himself, and I think the intent and anger is still there, definitely. But he is a broken man, Yeah. So, and that was the saddest thing. By the way, I think we're done seeing Saul. I think that was his goodbye.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. Honestly, that is totally fine, because we know the spinoff is happening.
Yeah.
Which I think they said it was going to take place before anyway.
Yeah, or if they do one afterwards, it'll be him managing a Cinnabon and Omaha. So we have that to look forward either way. But I feel like that was his ending, and it was just it is over, and he gets his bags and he gets out of there, and Walter can't even chase after him or yell or do anything, because I think he started to kind of get that he wasn't that same person anymore either. So, that was really interesting, and then he eventually does get out of there, and he shows up in New Hampshire, but we're going to get to that, because there's so many other things that happened in this episode. And again, this was a way quieter episode. It didn't have the explosion that Tahajali or Ozymandias had, but at the same time, it was very eventful, you know what I'm saying?
No, and I keep on jumping forward, but, the event, it ended on a, okay, I'm ready for what's about to happen.
Oh, man, please.
It wasn't...
That is, I think, the biggest moment of this series to date. I really do. Again, not explosive, but what it means, And, God, we'll get there, but I have to tell all the other stories to get there. Because you get to see how Walter gets defeated completely before he decides, fuck it, Yeah. All right, but the other things, we'll just kind of jump and skim over those pretty quickly, the things that we have to talk about. Was there any moment scarier on TV than when Skyler goes into that room and all the guys are in masks? I know that's a simple thing. It's something you've seen over and over again.
You know what, though? I'm still going to say, I don't know how they got there if there's the police, right there, right?
Look, just don't question the Nazis. I think you're looking way too much.
Yeah, and listen, as minor as that is, there ain't nothing like Dexter.
Dexter,
yeah, Dexter. Yeah.
With that being said, we have to go back to Breaking Bad, because I want to talk about a show that hasn't let me down at all.
All right.
So, how about that? I know you have a small gripe with that. All right, but if you suspend your belief for that 1 second of how they actually get in, I think that was terrifying. Like, it was terrifying television, man.
Yeah.
There was one review that said that's as scary as television gets, and I almost agree with that because I was so scared for her.
Yeah,
and Meth Damon.
You know what? I was scared too that like we may have seen like some rape or something. Like I was like.
It got. And I think that's what's so impressive about that is because I think every negative thought and scenario went through your head. You know, I thought we were gonna see like a rape. I thought he was gonna murder like Holly almost like. And it's not that I wanted any of that to happen, but it's just like that's how scary those people are to me, you know. Yeah. And Meth Damon, as we love to affectionately call him, he's kind of a great actor, man. He's really sold me on this, like really strange, but like maybe there's some good in him. Because like, all right, later in the episode, we'll jump ahead a little bit, you know. So we're following Jesse, and in case you guys forgot from last week and you didn't get a review. Jesse is kind of a slave to the Nazis right now in terms of like
he's pretty much broken.
Yeah, they broke him. He's taken everything away from him. Nobody knows where he is except for Walter, and even Walter doesn't necessarily. He thinks he's dead already because Todd said he was going to kill him off. Now we find out the reason that he kept him around was to up the quality for the methamphetamines. Which ultimately, and this is how fucking strange this is, if you think about the mentality of Todd, is just to stay close to Lydia. You know what I'm saying? Because he kind of is in love with Lydia.
I know.
Because Uncle Jack even calls him out. He's like, we hit the lottery. Like, what are you talking about meth for? You know, and it's true. Like, if you win, like, fucking hands off.
Which, you know what, though? Yeah, I really like his character now because although I'm disappointed that, like, he is the main villain,
bad guy,
right? Yeah. At the same time, like, he's one of those guys that it really is a lot of, like, business. Like, none of it's personal. And, you know, I think he joined this meth business just to get money, right? Yeah. So I really like the fact when he was talking with Todd, he was like...
it was almost the antithesis of Heisenberg, you know what I'm saying? Because Heisenberg got the money and couldn't let it go. This guy's got the money.
Yeah, this guy's like, like, who cares? Like,
no, absolutely. What I like about him, too, and I think there was some reviewer who said it, and I can't remember which, so forgive me, but he's like, Uncle Jack's the kind of guy that you know is evil and you're scared of, but you almost want to be in his inner circle because he's probably a cool guy to hang out with, right? And that's true. Like, you know, the scene where he puts his arm around Todd and he's making fun of him. He's like, this guy's evil as fuck, but I kind of want to hang out with him a lot. You know what I'm saying? But so, you know, so Jesse's fucking, you know, enslaved and whatnot, and things really kind of escalated there. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about, how Todd's creepy. Todd will torture him and then bring him ice cream. You know what I'm saying? And like, and it's kind of weirdly
affectionate. You did a good job.
I thought you deserved something. Here's a treat. Like, you're still in a fucking hole. You know what I'm saying? You're still a slave, but I'm going to buy you some ice cream. And so we saw Jesse try to desperately break out, which was an awesome scene. My heart was pumping the whole time.
Yeah, I know, me too. I'm just like, yes, he fucking made it out. And then like,
I thought he was going to get out really bad.
Yeah,
I just thought it. And again, it was just one of those things where like how scary this show can be, like the way they shoot things. You know, when he's running, he gets on the fence, and then they just do that thing where you don't see them completely, just like the outlines of black shadows behind him. Yeah. And then he's just like, do what you're going to do, but I'm not going to cook for you fucking psychos anymore. And again, why can't we have fuck on AMC? Because it would have been fucking wonderful. But he does that, and he's just like, I'm not going to cook for you. So these Nazis, they do what Nazis do, which is they send a message. And we already knew that they were kind of surveilling Andrea and Brock because of the photograph they had in the makeshift laugh for Jackie. Yeah. And that was, I mean, did that break your heart at all? There's a knock on the door, just so you guys know. It's Todd. Todd being incredibly creepy.
You know, that's the thing. It's funny. Out of all the people I thought we were going to see die, like, she wasn't even in my radar. Yeah, it wasn't. So when it slowly happened, I'm just like, oh, fuck me, man. And like Jesse's crying again,
or something. I didn't think that they were going to. When he's just like, I hope you know that none of this is personal. Which for me, like, think about that. It's like, does it matter in 2 seconds if it's personal or not? She's gonna be fucking dead. So like, that's something you're telling yourself, you know. But man, I didn't think it was gonna happen. And when you see it unfold and you see Aaron Paul's reaction after she gets shot, like,
I know.
And then how fucking evil is Uncle Jack? I mean, and maybe a sweet guy at the same time, depending on who you look. He's like, hey, there's always the kid, you know. Like, I didn't kill the kid.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't kill the kid. I'm like, I honestly don't know what would have been worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh no, dude.
Brock is now. What does he have? He has no parents. So yeah, Andrea ended up dying. I didn't feel like it was gonna happen, and then like you see Aaron's Paul reaction, right? Like he
and it was great. Yeah, Uncle Jack just is like, settle down, like you know, he doesn't even fucking fathom, or maybe he does. I don't know. It's just that part of humans that you need to give a fuck about anything like that is just they don't have it. That whole fucking family just doesn't seem to have it. You know. Yeah. But I mean, all it did really was just set up more of a hatred, I guess. You know, Todd has now killed Drew Sharp. He killed fucking Andrea. You know what I'm saying? Which I got so many predictions about how this is going to play out next week, but I mean, let's just try to stick to this one, and we'll do our predictions maybe at the very end. So that happens, and so just Jesse's left in even more of a state of disarray. Meanwhile, we kind of cut back. We see Skyler. Skyler is basically going to take the fall for this, seemingly. There's a scene where Walt and Saul are talking it out, and he's like, "It was smart that you did the phone call, but look, that's like an eventual thing. For the next year or two, she's fucked,
Yeah.
She will, like...
Which I didn't even know, so I'm glad they brought that up.
Well, there's, like, the legal ramifications and whatnot,
yeah.
The other thing I was wondering, we only seen Marie for a split second in this episode, and again, no purple, because I was telling you the other day, it's 0 purple. Everyone's color schemes are off. Skylar's in white, Walter's in white, which is kind of weird, But, so the color schemes are all getting fucked up again, but I was wondering, how does this now strain Skylar and Marie, you know what I'm saying, more than anything else, because... She knew who he was, and now her husband's dead. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I guess moving on from there, he was talking New Hampshire, basically.
Yeah. So he's there now. He's living up there in the cold weather. And
well, the best part of it too is Robert Forster. He opens this thing. It's like this secret compartment in like a 18-wheeler, like a tanker or something like that. And he comes out, and immediately again, white everywhere. They're playing a lot of the colors in this, and he's in New Hampshire. And he goes inside his place. It's a tiny little cabin, but it's beautiful. It's scenic and whatnot, And that's like, I think when the reality of everything is kind of set in on Walter, because he's like, you can't use a telephone, you can't use satellite TV, you can't use the internet, here, like, I will get you whatever you want, I'll be back, so on and so forth. And what I liked about this, too, is he kind of illustrates that, like, the fixer does not have ongoing relationships with his people, It's like, I fix you and I'm out of there, but... Walter is, and that's something we don't really see, and I wish that we would have saw maybe a news flash or something like that, but he's the most wanted man in America. There's doing a nationwide manhunt for the guy. His face is on every television screen, every...
Oh, okay, I didn't know it went to nationwide.
Oh, they said that,
Okay.
In that episode, he's the most wanted man. That's why he's like, if you leave this house, you will get caught,
Yeah.
And I think, again, it was like, we're talking about Walt versus Heisenberg and who's who. He finds the bowler hat, he puts it on, they do the...
I know. When they do that whole
When they do the angle, you're just like, he's Heisenberg.
Man.
But what happened this time, I feel like this was such a big moment. Heisenberg failed him. Like, he had the hat on, he had all this courage, and he still got to the gate, and he couldn't leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's a sort of weird time jump in Breaking Bad, which we don't do very often ever, but a month passes, because Robert Forster, the fixer, ends up coming back. And you see that Walter has, a little beard, he's growing
he has the hair back,
And more importantly, he's doing self-chemo, which I thought was kind of badass, by the way. It's just, I got this, but he didn't.
I saw a few videos on YouTube, so...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's what he said,
well, I tried a few tunes on YouTube. Yes, YouTube's very useful, so it has its place in the world. But, again, sad moments, like we were talking about, the coughing with Saul, like, it's done when I said we're done. We had another one of those moments where it's just like, he's like, I gotta get out of here, and he's like, stay a little bit longer. I'll pay you $10,000 for 2 hours. Like, that is the saddest thing in the world for me. And you're seeing how much he valued his family, even though he never really cared about them at the time. Like, it's these people that he did care about. And
I think it's one of those things. Like, what's that expression? You don't know what you got until it's gone.
But that whole scene, you kind of see him miserable. And what's that one scene where he's just like, one day you're gonna come up here and I'm gonna be dead. And will you give my money to my family if I ask you to do that? And it's just a great fucking retort where he's just like, if I said I would you believe me? By the way, I would. I don't think it's going to come into play at all. But I think Robert Forster's probably a really stand-up guy, that fixer. So I don't know. But, all right, so that happens, and eventually he gets courage, Walter White, and he says, I'm going to get the fuck out of here, and he needs to contact his boy, which is a really cool way he does it, because Aunt Marie has a frantic call, Flynn White gets taken out, and I also like that, like I said, little nuances of shit, Because remember, near the end, he was back to being Walt Jr., like he wanted to be Walt Jr. And so now he's back to being Flynn, which is, kind of a show, not tell sort of deal about how he's handling it. And it's not Aunt Marie, it's actually some barmaid in New Hampshire, which I love. She's like, hold on a second, sweetie. And then it's him. And that's a weird conflicting moment as well, because it looks like Walt Jr. is kind of wanting to talk to him. He's just like, like he's answering him and shit like that. But at the end it mounts up, and I think that's the saddest moment for Walter White. That's the last straw, I think, for him, where it's just like, this really was for nothing. Like, my family, they hate me. They want me to die.
Because still, according to them, he killed Hank. Like, they still think he killed Hank.
And it's one of those things that, like, I don't think even if they understood the situation, like, he did plead and he wanted to give away all $80 million. It's still, like, those are consequences of the actions that you did, regardless, So I understand it. There's no redemption for him in terms of Hank, even though we, the audience, know. And I think that's the tragedy of the show, is we do know that he tried, but his family thinks he's terrible. So that ends up happening. Why don't you die? He starts, like, setting up all these alarms. He starts freaking out and yelling in the office. And at that moment, Walter White's like, done, and he calls the Albuquerque DEA, drug enforcement agency.
I think he's just like, I'm done.
I'm done. He's like, I want to talk to the investigator in charge of the Walter White case. Who should I ask is calling? Walter White is calling.
Yeah, I love that.
And then he just drops the phone. I'm just like, oh shit. And then we got to get to like maybe my favorite part of maybe this show. Not like there's been more explosive moments, and there's been other great moments, but fuck me if he's sitting there, he's drinking his whiskey, and he's flipping over, and then Charlie Rose comes on, and Charlie Rose is interviewing Gretchen, and I forget the other asshole's name, but of Grey Matter, which is really like if you think about this, that was Walter White's origin story of how the seed of Heisenberg ever came to be, which was just like he sold his birthright, or his child's birthright, for $5,000, and that company ends up becoming $1 billion company. So I always feel like that kind of is the seed that like led him to become who he is, the pride thing. So they're on Charlie Rose, and Charlie Rose is talking about all their charitable work, but kind of hints and implies that maybe some of their charity is more so like an apology or like a buffer or something like that for their association with Walter White. And they take this opportunity to basically denounce any involvement that he had. Like he was there very early on.
And that's why they're giving away so much.
Which is bullshit to me because obviously it's bullshit because they're trying to save themselves. But we see in the past first season, where he's doing like one of my favorite episodes of Breaking Bad is when the body gets in the tub. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the next episode, while they're cleaning it up, they're doing that thing of him in the past talking about what makes up the human body. You know what I'm saying? They're breaking it down like point by point. That's him. So like that he was very instrumental in this thing, and for them to basically they use this as an opportunity to kind of like wash their hands of Walter White and his entire involvement. And Walter White, I think, came to the realization that a lot of things he did, were bad, whatever, so on and so forth. He felt the guilt of it. But one thing, that his fucking pride was not going to let him, it was not going to let these fucking people take away what he did create, And, there was that line where Gretchen was just like, whatever that man was, whoever sweet old man he was, that's not who he is anymore, And Vince Gilligan throws the full version of the theme song up there. You remember you start hearing that? You're just like, oh shit! Like the cops are coming, and like,
the cops are coming with shotguns and all that stuff. And then like you just see like again, it's like right when Hank died and like he got up as Heisenberg. Like I think he just realized like Walter White cannot exist anymore.
Oh no!
Or if
that
he does,
was the death of Walter White to me. He's gone. Like oh man, I'm just so excited because you realize we're gonna get a fucking bloodbath next week.
Yeah, like he's just pissed. Like he's just like I don't.
Also, we were talking about who the Ryson's going to be for. Remember, that was like something we're talking about. And I think the Ryson's going to be for either Lydia, because I don't know why you would want to shoot Lydia, but Gretchen and the Grey Matter people. You know what I'm saying? Because I think about the sweet irony of killing people through chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's what's going to end up happening. He's going to go on this rampage, or whatever, and then he's going to go and make sure those fuckers both die. Yeah. So I'm really hoping for it. I don't know, but just that final shot of the whiskey glass, and then the theme music, and just like. This is it. Like first, it was the first time in a long time. Like this is it. We have 50 minutes left because the next episode's a little bit longer. Yeah. We have 50 minutes to wrap up the greatest fucking television show in recent history and maybe ever. So I'm super excited about it. I've never been this obsessed with a show ever in my life in terms of like what it means, and we're hoping to do a huge multi-guest panel. Sort of, and it's going to be a little bit longer too, just about what Breaking Bad was, what the show meant. Yeah. And I can't wait. So the guests are to be, I guess, announced. We don't really know who we're going to have on here yet. But
we'll bring an all-star panel.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a little bit more concise and shorter recap, but believe me, we're going to fill all the fat next week for the finale. So,
let us know what you guys think, and what do you think is going to happen next week?
That's going to be fucking crazy. All right, with that being said, I'm Christian Leon.
DJ Miles.
This is Bonus Points, and we'll see you next week.